Shalom, welcome to 6 by 6, 6 days a week, but 6 minutes, and you get a whole idea from the Lubavitcher Rebbe from Likutei Sichos. And just very fast, we were telling the basic Judaism of the 3 weeks, and the 3 Haftarahs really have nothing to do with the Torah reading. It's really only because of the 3 weeks, but the Rebbe always looks something deeper, and he says there must be a connection between the Haftarahs and the portion of the week. Even like I said, basic Judaism, it isn't. So the portion of the week is Pinchas. Now Pinchas was very zealous, and he killed a Zimri because he was going against Judaism and making a Chilul Hashem. You say it in Hebrew, a desecration of God's name. And the Haftarah is Jeremiah, Yirmiyahu Jeremiah. Now it's very interesting that both of them had non-Jewish lineage, that their mothers converted, of course, but still that their mothers were not originally not Jewish, and therefore that they have that common denominator with them. And we will see later on how that is affecting our idea of what the Haftarahs are and their connection to the Parsha also. That on the other hand, I mean, they did have fathers that were holy. Pinchas ben Elazar, it says that he is the grandson of Aaron, who was the son of Elazar, and he was eventually, after Aaron passed away, he was the Kohen Gadol. So on one hand, he had a very illustrious lineage from his father's side, but as we said, ultimately he had his mother came from non-Jews over here. So we have to find a connection. Also, Jeremiah, at the beginning of the Haftarah, again, is the portion that we read, he says, well, I'm just a nar. A nar means like a lad or a boy. He may not have been a boy, but in those days, a person who wasn't fully mature or documented with a full diploma, that they were considered still a boy. You have that a lot in Gemara. I don't know if you say that really in modern society, but that was it. You call a great rabbi Ben Zoma, the son of his father Zoma, but why was he? He's a great rabbi, but still he didn't get ordination, so he's still in a certain sense part of his father's house. In any case, that's what he said. I'm a lad, but I mean, again, he was obviously a great rabbi, and then he was a great prophet, and he's one of the canon, a part of the Torah, the Tanakh, the Old Testament. So obviously he was a tremendously great prophet, but again, in his humility, you know, the greatest people are humble, and the people who don't have too much are always the Balgaiva. They're always proud for themselves. But we have to see what that means, why he was a lad also. And now both of them lived as kind of introduced in bad circumstances, because at that time that there were people rebelling against this basic chumash that it says in times of Pinchas, why can't we marry Midianite women? They were coming close to Israel, and it wasn't barren, and I mean the desert was barren, but now they're coming into civilized world, and there were city-states. Surely the Canaanite nations were in Israel. They didn't get there yet, but even outside, meaning on the east side of the Jordan River, there were societies there, and one of them was Midian. So they saw these different societies and say, well, you know, I want to marry or be together with a Midianite woman. Am I allowed or not allowed? And Moshe Rabbeinu didn't answer, but Pinchas says, well, you're not allowed to do that. And he says, well, I'll show you. And he had relations with her right in front of everybody, and Pinchas killed them both over there. I call my word, shish kebab them with a spear, and they died. And but Pinchas, you know, the people were mad at Pinchas. What are you killing people for? Obviously, it was the right thing to do those times. Nowadays, of course, we do not hurt anybody that is not doing the Torah and the mitzvahs, unless, I see, your life is in danger. Again, if you're an Israeli army, it is one thing, but on the other hand, that just to go around in the street and saying you're doing wrong, you surely don't hurt people. On the contrary, you deal with them with pleasantness and peacefulness. And he had to deal with these girls of the Moab, the Midianites, all these city-states, And so it was pretty low over here. The Jewish people were ready to intermarry with these non-Jewish Gentile girls. And Jeremiah also had troubles. It's really the truth of the matter is, every generation has its troubles. Never was utopia. People tell me, oh, in Europe it was so nice. Yeah, I mean, there were obviously things that were better. There were more religious people in Europe. But on the other hand, there's always something or another. Either it's physical danger, the Cossacks, anti-Semitism, or it's like what we're dealing with now in America. That is more the physicalness. People say, well, you do whatever you want, whatever makes you feel good. There's always challenges until the Mashiach comes. There's always going to be challenges and obstacles, and we have to deal with them every generation, whatever happens to be. Now, Jeremiah had a different situation. Things were bad. People were doing the mitzvahs. Now, they were living in Israel. I mean, it is the Holy Land, and they did have the temple around them, but like, say, nobody ever has it easy. You can say, well, if I'd be in Israel, and oh, if I had the temple, would I be a good Jew? Well, it's not as simple as that. And like I say, everybody has their obstacles and trials and tribulations, no matter what they do and whatever they do. So in any case, we're going to continue the connection between Jeremiah, the author of the Haftarah, and Pinchas, which is the theme and of the portion of the week.